What's good, y'all? Let's talk about the ability, the skill set to switch biases on the fly in the market and how to do that efficiently, as well as some stop loss placement and how to keep your risk to reward favorable at all times so you can grow your accounts long term. So, first of all, and early in the day today, I sent the chat and I said, yo, expect bullishness in the early section of the day on NASDAQ. And so that's why I took this initial play right here. I actually got in at 928 before the market opened because I was expecting a run up out of this inefficiency. So this inefficiency, I entered on that. My stop loss is right below, just about 6 points below. I'm risking 6 points, and truly, my target for the whole day was a run way past these highs. All right, so I don't even want to do that math, but you can kind of see, obviously, I'm risking 6 points for a move like this. Yeah, I think it's worth the risk. So here we go. Let's see how it plays out. This is the first play today. So, things work out at first, right? We start getting that push. That's a 930 candle. That's exactly what I want to see. And then once we started pulling back a little bit, another push, then this pullback right here, I took my profits. Why'd I take my profits? So I took my profits because I understand that typically if we just open and run straight up, we might have to run back under the low. But just in case, I still was willing to take a play in this inefficiency. So I said, let me lock in some profit for the day. First play of the day, success. Cool. Let me lock in some. I'll try another play here. If this don't work, then I'm willing to scalp it to the lows, right? And then I'll ride it back to the upside. Why am I thinking about riding it back to the upside? Because once again, heading into the day, I already have a bullish bias, as well as the fact that I teach phase 2 members a lot that between 9:30 and 10, oftentimes that is the fake move, right? Between 9:30 and 10, if you come into the day with a bullish bias from higher time frame analysis, and you see on the lower time frames a swing to the downside, you should hold your high time frame analysis, especially if that swing to the downside is occurring between 9:30 and 10. So that's why any move down there, I was not believing in it, and I was just getting ready to buy it back. And you're gonna see what I mean. So let's see how this whole thing plays out on a switch bias level. So at this point, I get into this play inside of this inefficiency right here, right? And so let's think about, like, let's go to the 15 second, because that's really what I be on when I enter a lot of the time. So everything, once again, is timestamped in the chat. I'm vocal about all my entries, exits, all of that. So y'all know I got in around this area on this push up, right? On this push up. Where's my stop at? My stop was at the low of this inefficiency. It really should have been at the lows of this because this was too clean. It was pretty obvious we was gonna run that out. But listen, once again, it's about risk to reward. I'm like, what am I risking for what my reward is? Because this could have easily been an AMD situation. See accumulation, manipulate to one side, push out to the other. So that's something I was looking to see if they would do. And I just know that if they did make it to the bottom of this inefficiency, chances are we're gonna come straight to the lows. These lows right here, this yellow target. It wasn't really a question for me at that point. It was kind of obvious that if this inefficiency don't work, we're 100% coming to these lows. So I could try this and then I'll get it back in blood on the drop down. All right, so let's see how that play out. So obviously we got stopped out on this one, but price was moving so fast, I didn't even get no type of an entry initially. I didn't get an entry for puts because I'm not an impulse buyer. I'm not just going to buy on the drop. I need to see very specific things for me to enter a play. So right now, I'm like, okay, I probably missed the downside. But then I noticed they coming up. Do I believe in this little rally right here? No, because we did not meet our sell side objective. If this would have kept going higher and then validated this inefficiency, this red candle inefficiency, then I'd have said, okay, maybe that's all price wanted. Because there is technically a safe target that got hit in here. I just didn't think that would be enough. But I'm not going to go into all of that on here. So anyways, this is where I come down to what? The 15-second time frame, because this is a very important part of the sell setup. Very important part. What occurs right here. All right, so my eyes are open immediately. My eyes are still open. All right, at this point, bullish bias has now been, I'm talking about for people who played this price leg to the upside, your bullish bias has now been invalidated. So me knowing that we're actually gonna run these lows, that we're definitely gonna run these lows, is definitely worth me getting in on the sell side. So what did I do right here? I got in the sells. Where's my stop loss at? Just above. I don't even have to wait for it to hit the top wick, because to be honest with you, if price even makes it back above here, then I'm wrong. Because then if the price does that, then it's going to push past these highs and keep continuing to the upside. So that's why I say my risk reward is always lavish, because my stop loss is one, are very close to, they're very strategic and chart based, and it has to do a lot with the understanding of how this algorithm books price. So right now in this play, I'm risking 10 points or less, really, but I'm trying to make something that is, you know, about 20 points away. So I think it's definitely worth the risk. And so that's why I played this play to the downside, and I was able to get out once we ran these lows. Literally on this candle, I got out. Why would I get out on this candle and not see if it goes lower? Because remember, heading into the day on a higher time frame bias, I already have a bullish bias. Also, let's get real scientific for a second. So notice this candle here is 10:02. This is 10:01, and this red candle is a 10 o'clock candle. If I'm anticipating that the 10 o'clock candle is going to be a green candle, then I would think that we're going to go down first before going up. Why? Because that hourly candle needs to have a bottom wick. So I believe we're just creating a bottom wick before running up. Also, remember, I already had this being a Judas swing. What's a Judas swing? A fake move to the downside. All right, so at this point, I'm just trying to get in for upside. I need bullish signals for upside right around where we ran that target at. So let's go back to the 15-second, because when it comes to the 15-second, this is a lot of times the time frame that I enter on. Not every time, but very specific times. I'm looking for very specific things. All right. So at this point, I need confirmation for upside. And then here we are. All right, we getting this confirmation for upside. First of all, running above this high already told me we pushing up. Once we came back above this high, I already knew it was up. Okay, so now let's look how I entered it. So me, I entered inside of here, right? I entered inside of here on this candle. On this candle, this is the candle that I entered on. Okay, everything is in the chat. Where's my stop loss at? My stop loss is literally, my thing is lagging, my fault. My stop loss is literally 16,815. So I had less than a 10% stop for real. My fault, less than a 10 point stop on NASDAQ. And where's my target? These highs, right? Especially just coming into the wick area. So let's see how that plays out. And then even this, right? Strategically, everything is strategic. Where am I? I have stops and profit at this point. My stops and profit, guess what they based on? Our ability to hold that rectangle. If we can't hold that rectangle with bodies, then I'm getting out of the play. All right. So knowing which inefficiencies to choose to hold your play is literally a skill set in itself. So if you see, obviously we held this with bodies, things are going well. I could move this, we don't need this no more. We don't need that no more. All right, so boom, look, we pushing up, things are going good. This is a successful play. I was able to take off my contracts here. I was able to, well, first of all, I already had trimmed the contract on this drop down. Once this red candle came in, I trimmed, and then I held the main position still, got it back up to here, took it off. Took off cons in there, right? Once it was playing around, whenever it started playing around is when I took off cons. Yeah, most likely it was this red candle. Is when I took off the rest of my position. Now, do I think that price is really done for? Right? Do I really think that price is done for at this position? No. So once again, this is all in the chat. You guys saw me. I went from minis, which is on NASDAQ, right? Because I was in NASDAQ minis for this whole play. This was all minis, which are obviously you guys may know you make a lot more money on minis, but you also could, of course, lose a lot more money on minis. And because my entry is not as optimal, right? I'm right next to my target. I'm playing this inefficiency for entry. Then I got in micros for the rest of the play. I got in micros for the rest of the play. What's the rest of the play? My original target, which was coming up in the head. This was the safe target. So in the chat, this is all, everything I call out before it happens. I said, yo, the safe target is 16,897, 75, right where the yellow line is at. So let's just look at what I mean by this market is algorithmically driven, because I'm calling this before it happens, right? And don't ever in your life think that this is support and resistance, because it's not. Like, clearly this is not a resistance level. It's not, like, you know what I mean? I don't place support and resistance. It's an algorithmic target that I have. And let's see what happens when, as soon as we touch that. So first of all, us touching that, and then at this point, I already took off one of my contracts on the micros. All right, now when did I shed the rest of my micros contracts? Right on this candle that we are on right now, because it just did a signature that would need to happen for us to make bearish moves back to the downside. So at this point, I got out the way. I took my main positions off, and let's just see how it all plays out. Right? So got out the way at the perfect time. At the perfect time. And this is what I mean by when you know exactly what to look for, you know not just when to enter, you also know when to exit. And so that's how I keep my wins really large and my losses really small. Because even going from the minis for this run up, because let's just look at this whole price leg, because essentially, you know, we call this whole price leg between minis and micros. So getting in down here, riding it all the way up to here with minis, getting back in with micros for the last portion, and knowing that, okay, price has met an objective to the tick, right? Price has met an objective to the tick. And then it just gave us a bearish signal, algorithmic bearish signal right here in this candle. At this point, I know we're running through these lows, and if we're running through these lows, I know where we're going. Price is about to get very bad to the downside. And so I don't even want to be a part of that. Why would I go negative with my position? Why would I wait for it to come back, break even, or anything like that? I made money, I got out the way. I could always get back in after. All right, I could always get back in after. And so that's just kind of what I mean, y'all, when I say the ability to switch biases, the ability to make sure that you lock it in profit at the right time. That's a skill in itself. And yeah, we ended up playing more upside and everything, but I won't even go through those plays. But just know, obviously, you know, today was a very profitable day. You don't sulk because you had one baby loss down in here, right? This little portion, and I'm only 1 minute time frame, this little portion was a loss for me. Okay, so compare that loss to this price leg, right? Compare that loss to this price leg, and you kind of see what I mean. And that's not my fault. It's this price leg right here, this whole portion. So yep, I hope y'all got value from this. There was other plays I could have went over. We caught some fire plays today in the chat and everything, but I'm gonna keep the video short. We'll tap back in soon.